Dear beloved Creator of all that is, we come to you in recognition of certain truths that we, everyone, are but fractals of you, our divine Creator. We recognize that we are physical as well as metaphysical beings. We understand that our vehicle, our physical body, carries a soul and a spirit. The seen and the unseen, we are all part of that. Just as we see and we do not, there are those of us who think we see and do not. It is all of this, the mystery, that we ask you to reveal to us through expanded consciousness, through communion and communication, through humility and heartfulness. For all this, we express gratitude. We thank you for the grace of our moving together in greater consciousness and expansion of love in our energy body for ourselves, where the buck stops. Then we can expand our awareness and appreciation and love to infinity.
Hello, my name is RonVrooman. I'm with the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. We're meeting today to discuss returning to a true constitutional Republican form of government lawfully and doing it through our civilian court, activating a grand jury and a trial court, and removing evildoers from the land of Oregon. With me today are William. I'll have William introduce himself, Richard, and Richard can introduce himself. Go, Bill.
I'm William Appel. I'm here in Portland, Oregon. I am with the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly.
My name's Richard Koenig. I'm one of Kate Brown's favorite stalkers. I'm a victim of her single contact, no alarm stalking order, so I'm a fugitive.
Okay. Let me see. Our standard points that we discuss are courts and jurisdictions, agencies and bureaus, democracy and republic, misprision of felony, enumerated responsibilities, and definitions when it was enacted. Today, let's discuss a brief one-page regarding we are in a benevolent, predatory form of martial law from D.C., the United States, incorporated governance in some form since 1861. Its name is the Lieber Code from Lincoln's Executive Order 100 in color law. We have had a constitutional Republican form of government from 1819 to 1860 or 61. From 1776 to 1819, it was changing from an overthrown monarchy. Most of the people from 1776 through 1819, the people at large, were not convinced for a long time. There really is an active conspiracy. It is the industrial, military, judicial, legislative, executive, banker, bar, royalist, communist, Muslim, Georgia Guidestone complex. Anybody got anything to say on that?
That's a lot of them.
Yeah, well, did I go wrong anywhere?
Well, for you to substantiate that would take too long, so I'm not going to challenge it. But I would appreciate it if you would give us something that we can talk about. I mean, one mouthful, not a regurgitated dinner on our plates.
Oh, I'm sorry that you thought I was regurgitating upon your plate. Well, how would you go about returning to a constitutional Republican form of government, Richard?
Well, one of the things that I've discovered, I have a new roommate, and I can't even begin to talk to him because he is so of the opinion that there is someone higher than him, and he has to kowtow. Until I can talk to anyone, including a roommate, as though they are endowed with all the powers that their creator gave them, I'm doubtful that we can talk in a meaningful way to anyone. So that's my concern. How do we talk to anyone as long as they believe that someone is giving them the privilege to talk back? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not a very good conversationalist because of that little obstacle.
That's a major obstacle.
And that's pretty major. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of this training is from the school system, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. That one would be good. That is one of our key elements. The school system is governed by ORS 336, and one of the provisions of 336 is 057, section 057. That's all in the Oregon Revised Statutes. And that section says schools shall provide. And if we could only get schools to do what they're supposed to do, that would mean that every student would have 5 years of U.S. history, U.S. Constitution, and Oregon Constitution for 5 years, starting no later than the 8th grade and continuing through, meaning no let up. And then we would have it. Then, so the schools, that's the only place to start as far as I can tell.
I agree with you on that, Richard. The Oregon school system is headed up by the governor. Kulingoski, or the one before him and after him, I forget his name. The medical doctor that had to resign. So
That's called Kitzhaber.
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 Yeah, he's the one that.
Kitzhaber was the first guy
to make
he was the first superintendent.
Governor, the superintendent of education for Oregon, and that's probably where it started.
No, oh no. We let me tell you what I know.
Go ahead.
As a former ombudsman, with the state program called the Ombudsman program, I spent a lot of time going around to elder care facilities talking with older folks. And this is, I don't know, maybe 25 years ago or so. So there's a 25-year gap between when I was doing this and now. That means that the people that were in their 90s would be appropriate for the beginning of the Oregon Revised Statutes at 336.057. That law was enacted in 1923, and it was followed. I mean, the legislature didn't get the results they were looking for, so it was followed in 1929 by 336.067, and 0.067 says that special emphasis shall be placed on these various subjects, including the U.S. Constitution and the Oregon Constitution. But that didn't work either, because none of the people that I talked to as an ombudsman knew anything about the Constitution. They remembered no classes from high school in the Constitution. And if they can't remember going back that far, and I'll tell you that I also was interviewing high school age people at the time. And I mean, I still do. I still talk to high school age people. But one gal I was talking to on the bus, I said, in the Oregon Constitution, she goes, Oregon has its own constitution? I knew about the U.S. Constitution, but I didn't know the state had one. And that is kind of where we're at. She was a high school age person, but she did not know that Oregon had its own constitution. So I'm out. Any comments on that?
Yeah. I went to high school with my youngest daughter. She went to St. Mary's. And I did most of her schoolwork with her. She did all of her algebra and stuff like that, but I would read to her a lot. We took comparative religion together and social studies, and I don't remember one class in one of the years where she studied the Constitution. And I was there with her from 2000 to 2005, 2001 to 2005, and I don't remember one class.
I can add to that. They don't have a class on the Constitution. They have the Constitution tucked in to social studies. They have it tucked into various little things, but they're little things. There is no class on the Constitution of the United States of America, nor of the Constitution of Oregon. There just isn't any, and yet it's been in the law since 1923 and 1929 if you're talking about the special emphasis. So
how can we get this to change?
Well, the first thing we have to do, we have to write to the superintendent of public instruction, who is Kate Brown, and ask her. Part of 336.067 is that the superintendent shall, there's no question, shall write an outline, and every year, I think it's every year, and describe how best to accomplish the placing the special emphasis that's in this section. How to get these things that are supposed to be taught implemented. And so I've asked, and I've discovered that she has never written something called an outline, nor did John Kitzhaber ever write one. And I went back, I was in the superintendent's office before she got shit canned by John Kitzhaber, and me and the staff at the Department of Education spent 2 to 3 hours looking under the mattress, behind the television, everywhere in the office. We looked everywhere. We looked online. We could find no evidence of an outline anywhere written by anyone at any time. What does this mean? You tell me what it means.
I would say that is at least a misdemeanor, if not a felony. And I think that that's something for our civilian court to do. We should address that with a petition for redress of grievance, assign it a docket number, and present that to Kate Brown. Let's get that done this coming week. Let's get that done this coming week. We'll get it typed up, and the court can meet, and we'll all sign it and stamp it and seal it and file it with the
Okay.
Let's see. We should
Comment.
probably wait a minute. We should probably
Okay.
file that with Kate, Ellen, and the acting Secretary of State. Agreed?
Sounds good.
Wait, hold on. I'm not ready to agree.
Okay.
After I went to the superintendent, after I was there personally, on an occasion when I was riding down by the post office and going to the post office, riding my bicycle, I get a call. So I pull over, get my phone out of my pocket, and it's the state police. It's a sergeant in the state police, and he says, "Is this Richard Koenig?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "You've been bothering the superintendent of state public schools." I said, "No, I didn't meet her. I saw her at a meeting once. I talked to her. I asked her about this problem." And he said, "Well, you were in her office." I said, "Yes, we were looking for the." And he goes, "Don't ever do that again. Don't come around this Department of Education again." So I think we should we should include the state police in this matter.
Terry Davey.
They seem to be responsible for repression generally. And Terry Davey specifically, she's the gal who arrested me on the sidewalk near the state capitol.
And she's now the superintendent of the cops.
She became the assistant superintendent soon after she arrested me for trespassing on the sidewalk near the state capitol. And then when Travis Hampton left at the first of this month, she took over his position as the superintendent. Yeah, that's correct.
Is that one of the paths to promotion, is to arrest Richard?
I think it was for her specifically, but I don't know. No one's arrested me since then. That was the last time. No, I take it back. I was arrested in 2018, but I was unlawfully released before I got to court, so I don't know much about that one.
Well, it seems like you're on the right path. Otherwise, they would not be sending in the troops out, right?
Well, that's kind of the way I read it. When they, on their own volition, call you, they got your name. It's not a mistaken call. They intended to call you, and they say, "Don't come around the superintendent's office." That means you're on to something pretty significant.
I agree.
That's the way I've always figured it. Yeah.
Yep. So that's how we got here to this predicament. This benevolent government is from the uneducating of the people. Now we can, of course, send a signal to them that we understand this, but that's not going to get us back there. Of course, it'll take years to educate the populace to understand that they have God-given rights that have been taken from them. That should be added to that education too, is how we got here and how we're going back. Of course, we know our civilian court and our grand jury will be the key to bring us back in that direction, right, Ron?
Yeah, I agree. There's got to be a method of communicating all of this, and I hope we're on the track to some of it. But as we are guaranteed, don't have it, but we're guaranteed it. So if you are guaranteed something and you don't have it, you're being defrauded, the way I look at it. So and fraud vitiates all. You can't have anything lawful after the fraud. So the way I look at it is, Article 1, Section 1 of the Oregon Constitution. And Richard, do you still have that memorized?
I didn't forget it. No, I've already said it once to my new roommate today. You want
Well,
to hear
say
it?
it. Yeah, say it again.
All right. We declare that all men, when they form a social compact, are equal in right, that all power is inherent in the people, that all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their peace, safety, and happiness, and they have at all times a right to alter, reform, or abolish the government in such manner as they may think proper.
Has
Period.
that ever been amended or altered, Richard?
Um, hold on. I don't think so. If it,
Because in
you,
my
you know what
copy,
yeah,
there's a dash after it, and if there's a dash after it, it means it has
yeah.
never been amended.
Well, that's the way it is. That's
Okay,
what I
so
was going to
then,
look for. I was going to look on my computer to see if it had a dash because I know that.
well, I got a hard copy here, so the way I look at it, then, from just the written word, uh, and we've already notified Oregon, the state of Oregon, 36 sheriffs, Department of Justice, FBI, and yada, yada, yada. We've already notified them that the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly is Article 1, Section 1. And that has been acquiesced to. So that's who we are. And when you read that, or as Richard has it and memorized and told us, it's the people, and it is not defined as a specific number. And as we're not a democracy, we don't need a majority. We are the people. However many of us happens to come together to form Article 1, Section 1. So the way I see it is we tell them what their obligations and responsibilities are. They don't tell us. And if we don't tell them, then they don't know. So we need to tell them again and again until they do what they're told.
Well, I have a word of caution. One of the things that I asked Catherine Brown, because I was being treated as though I were a driver. I had been to traffic court on a number of occasions, but I asked her, I said, can you help me find the legislative definition of driver? And that's what prompted her to get her single contact no alarm stalking order against me, served on me. And she's never talked to me. We talked a little bit back in the 1980s when we were lobbying together, and we weren't together, but that's her word, together. But we've never talked since then. We didn't even talk when I asked her for the driver license. I made a written request for it, and she won't talk. So I'm not sure that just talking to her is going to work. But one of the things that we need to do is prove that the words we have uttered or written were received by them. Don't have to prove they read it, but that they had an opportunity. If they were someone in the category of a public servant. Oh, and I read in the last couple of days where there are still, in the Oregon Revised Statutes, there are still public servants. So that's not an inappropriate term, even though many of them now say, I'm not a public servant, I'm a public employee. Even though that is becoming a more popular designation, they are still in the Oregon Revised Statutes referred to as public servants. I don't know how we do that. Well, I do. Using the mail, we can get certificates of service. I mean, our green card, we can get our green card back, and we can check that we want to pay for an adult signature. So we can do that. But how do we approach them and actually have a dialogue, with them? I'd like to learn how to do that. And I've asked people, can you write to me and tell me how I need to proceed in order to do that, to meet with the sheriff, for example? I've been asking the Yamhill County Sheriff for an appointment. I want to talk to you. I've been asking him for more than a year, and I still don't know. I haven't received anything in writing, so I don't know how to do it. But I've been asking.
Well,
can I get the instruction?
We got about a minute left here. So,
okay, I'm done.
Yep. So now we need to gather more people together for our 45-person grand jury. If anybody out there knows answers to these questions, please contact us. Anything more to say, Ron?
Yeah, I'm a contact point for the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. Maybe you'll put my email up, and anybody that wants to contact me can use that information. And let's wrap it up then.